Hello YouTube, and welcome in to another wonderful episode of Timberborn Z, or I hope will be Timberborn Z again. Welcome back, guys. It took a small hiatus waiting for the game to finally catch up with what's going on as far as all of, all the updates and everything. So the experimental branch finally got an update, pretty major one, if you will. Of note, we've got a new map, the Hollows, which I have taken a small glance at, which I was pretty excited to see, and I played around on it a little bit on stream last week, and I wanted to actually make a series out of it, so we're going to do that. I'm putting the last series that we were working on pause until, well, I can figure out how to get my computer to actually run it. Allegedly, the devs have worked on some of the performance issues with the game overall, but as of right now, I can't play the old save. The old save is completely unplayable at any rate of speed. 3 times, 2 times, 1 times. I've cleared out a lot of the excess pathing. I've tried breaking things down into different districts, and it's just a massive drain on computer resources, and I can't play the game. It becomes more of a chore than actually a piece of entertainment for me. It's not entertaining for you guys to sit here and watch 40 hours of content, which should take only about 10 hours to record, taking 40 hours to record, and getting barely anything out of it. So I'm going to put that one on pause. I do have that one in a good spot. We got the whole placement down and all that other thing for the final monument, but that aside, I wanted to get into the Hollows today and go through some of the patch notes for the experimental branch here that we have going on right now. So we've got the new map. This is the Hollows. I took a cursory glance at it again, like I said, on stream last week. It was pretty interesting. There's some hidden gems. It's also got its own challenges to it. I've noted you've got a bunch of water sources in here that there's not really a very defined way to divert the bad tide when it does turn to bad tide. So that is quite the challenge here. And this all feeds into here, which then back feeds into here. This feeds down here. It's quite an interesting map to play with, to look at, and they're taking full advantage of their 3D terrain mechanics, which I feel is absolutely awesome. Looking at some of the archways that they've built in here and all the other cool things that they've implemented. And then here's where we're talking performance updates, right? So significantly improve the game's performance compared to update 6. Anticipate 15-30% higher FPS. We've also eliminated several serious performance issues introduced with update 7. So I don't know if this actually, how this will look once we get to the end game. From the beginning of a playthrough, it doesn't seem like it's that much of an issue. But the beginning of the game normally isn't that power heavy anyway. And then they did some model updates, which is pretty cool. You got the new gear manufacturing systems, or gear workshop words. And then the smelter looks pretty Gucci too. I like that. And they updated the power shafts. Default mode for the power shafts in tubeways is now always the version with possible connections visible. Renamed solid power shafts and solid tubeways to vertical power shafts and vertical tubeways. I guess there was a little bit of confusion there. And then they added some quality of life stuff, area measurements, now enabled for a plethora of tools as opposed to just the first few that they did implement on a couple of the updates prior to them. And they updated some of the bugs here and there, so they could clear up some of the other random things that were causing some problems. Let's see here. More smoke. That's always fun. Environmental volume slider now also controls the wind's volume. I've never noticed that to be a problem, but then again, I think I turned the environmentals down. I don't know if that button has ever been touched by me, but that's a quick down and dirty of what we've got as far as the new update, or at least a small update for the experimental side of Timberborn Update 7. So they are actively working on Update 7, even though that's already out on full release on the main branch. So we're going to go ahead and hop in here, check this out, and I am looking forward to a new game with you guys. Now, we've been playing a lot of the Iron Teeth lately. I love the Iron Teeth, the fact that they have so much potential energy, potential power, potential everything, and it's a bit easier to work with them. I want to challenge myself to the folktales. Now, I'm not a big fan of the zip lines. The zip lines are slow. They're cumbersome to build. I'm just not a big fan of them overall, but we'll still play with them and get a look at it. And like I said, Helix Mountain, I did put in the thing right there. So we got a little cogwheel thing on the thing. But we're going to hop down here to hollows here. These bountiful hollows are a prime area for prospective settlers. The carved out landscape hides many opportunities. The eldest beavers even whisper of buried treasure. So there is one small buried treasure. I'm going to try not to spoil it for anybody who does want to play that on the first at their first look, but it should be fairly obvious when you look at the map when you first rock in and roll in. You're like, why is this area like this? And you're like, oh. All right, let's get in here. Let's check it out. Let's get into the game. Let's see how we fare. Hard mode, folktales on the hollows. And as we always do, Shadow Ville. I don't remember if we did ILLE. I think we did. And then this should be VI. There we go. That'll be our save here. And of course, we always pause the game as soon as we pop in because time is of the essence with the hard mode turned on. So we'll give you a quick rundown of the area. We'll pop out of the actual build mode and get into the beautiful landscape view of what we've got going on here. So we've got metal over here. We've got a future mine shaft down here. Here's a bad water source right there. Some more scrap metal over here. Here's the egress point for a couple of our water sources. I think all of the water sources do flow into that point, except for these down here. They do punch out there. So it splits here. It goes that way. And this is where things get weird. Like I mentioned before, here's a water source here. There's water source back in here, and that feeds down into this area, which either cuts off that way or feeds into this side and then cuts out this way, right? And here's where we start out. This is our starting area. We've got a fair amount of berries available to us. Not much, I noticed, when doing this on the Iron Teeth on stream. Not many in the way of berries to work with. We've got plenty of lumber to work with back here, which is pretty nice, and they gave us a fair amount of birch to work with. Once we get across the river, once we get some dams placed, that gives us access to oak right there, which is pretty nice. It gives you a good starting amount of wood to work with. But in order to actually deal with the bad tide, the only way I was able to actually think of to fix it is to get back into here and burn a lot of science to unlock levees and floodgates, and then push the bad tide up here and somehow build a bunch of levees to just force the bad water out this way so it doesn't contaminate the entirety of our area. So that turned into me putting in some dams right here so we could catch some water up here so we could actually pull that out and leave this irrigated down here for farming and whatnot. And while all this is irrigated, put in levees, and I was only able to get to tier or double floodgates, so I wasn't able to take advantage of triple floodgates. That's mostly because I just ran out of beavers, but I digress. You guys don't really care about a previous attempt at this. So let's see, what else do we have here? And we'll hop into this mode and hit this button right here. So we have another underground ruin right here, and we've got a couple underground ruins floating around in bed tide pools, if I recall correctly. Nope. No. So that was one right there. That'll be pretty far away for us to get to. That's randomly green. And then that one ruin. I think that's the one we already pointed out before. But yeah, I really like the challenge that this one offers. And I really like to do this because this is a really cool shot right here. You know, you're just zooming through, doing some cool things. And then let's see here. Yeah, a bunch of archways to play with. They definitely did some natural, would you call them natural aqueducts? Is that what you would call this? And it all feeds down in here to a nice little bad waterfall, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Overall, I think the map is very, very well built. It's interesting. It's challenging. And that is one of the cool things about it. I like this. This one offers a challenge that's not really offered elsewhere. You've got to move. You've got to move fast. You've got to get to stairs fast so you can get up to here to actually dam this off to get access to some of this food up here. You got to get to a lot of things quickly as far as the science is concerned to actually survive. Now you can get past the first bad tide pretty easily since it's relatively short. But once you're into the 6 to 9 to 10 to 12 day bad tides, you can't be letting this run red for that duration, because you will ruin your playthrough, and there's not enough time between the temperate cycles and the bad tides to actually pump out enough water to do anything worthwhile with it. So what I'm thinking, off rip, like I mentioned before, we're going to put in our bad water diversion system right here, push the bad tide up this side, and that feeds out to here into this little crater, and then that feeds out this way if I recall correctly. And we shouldn't have any issues with that happening like that. Once we get that in, we can dam up this entire area, and that'll give us a lot of water to work with. A lot of free storage right there, already pretty much pre-built for us. And we'll do probably something along the same lines over here. And the other concern is, as I mentioned, this source over here, these sources, I'm sorry. So we have a couple water sources there. Oh, sorry, shoddy camera work. That's on me. And then there's another couple water sources right there, right? So that feeds down into here, like I said, and then it splits and goes this way and feeds back into here, and it goes this way as well. So we have to find a way to prevent that bad water from getting in here as well. So, that all being said, there's some challenges to actually look at, challenges to play with, and let's go ahead and get into the game. So, like I always like to do, we'll feed our pathing around here, and we'll probably path back here like that. Go ahead and take advantage of this free lumber up there, come down here, and I want to hit across this bridge. So we'll put somebody on that corner and then somebody on this corner, take advantage of all that lumber back there. Probably clear cut some of this, probably clear cut all the beech. Or birch, sorry, not beech. All the birch over here, that's really not worth trying to let that reseed. We'll do the crosshatch method for all of the pine because that will reseed, and that'll provide a little bit of lumber for us in the future if we don't get to the forest or fast enough. But that will be for future me to deal with. We'll go ahead and pop in one bad Johnny here. I need to remember to put a path in right there and right there. Grab this path. That's simple. Go ahead and mark all of this for cutting. All of this for cutting. And all of that for cutting. That should be relatively simple. And then we'll drop this down so we can actually see what's happening down here. And do the little crosshatch method real fast. And we'll start here and then work our way across. Nope. Not what I wanted to do there. And then last line right there. Boosh. There we go. Now we can go back up into that view. We need to get somebody down collecting all this food right here. Now that should... We'll just go ahead and plug that in right there. That shouldn't be too much of an issue. Boosh. Now we want to have a way to capture all of this. That means probably tearing this out and placing this right here. And then putting in our lumber storage. Like, I don't want to put that there. So we'll do that right there. That means that they won't get blocked in. They can actually get to the lumber. So that'll be logs for us, not planks, logs please. And now we need to put in some storage for our berries. Probably don't need that large of a storage for the berries because there's only so little there for us to work with. And that's that button right there. And now we need to get efficient farmhouses in. And I want to get over here, but that's for future me to be concerned about. So we'll get that in. We'll go ahead and start planting our carrots since those are the quickest to get a return on investment. And we'll go ahead and toss in a warehouse right there. Grab that. You will be carrots. Now we need water. Water is life, and we need all of it. So we'll go ahead and toss that in right there, that in right there. Grab this, wrap that around like that, and this will give us a nice little spot right there. We'll go ahead and change that to water, and we'll throw in a third for future purposes right there, and that will be good enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. Now we need to start thinking about power. Water wheel. Now, the problem that I noticed is when we start maneuvering or messing with any of this over here, it you don't get much way in the way of water going across the water wheel right here. So, gonna have to do something up here to actually take advantage of this water as it's running through it. Now, that's not going to be the most optimum, and I really don't like that placement at all, honestly. So probably, and this entire side is not the greatest at all. So, yeah, well, words. I know how to speak the English language, so we're just going to go ahead and toss that in right there, knowing full well that we're going to lose this power supply in the future, but for now, that will meet the intent for what we need it for. Go ahead and toss that in. We're going to drop this priority-wise and probably drop that, not workplace priorities, construction priority-wise right there. Going to max out priority on these. And we'll go ahead and give that a moderate priority. That we don't need a priority on quite yet. Water, water, food, science. I don't want to put science up here so it's out of the way. Now this will probably turn this into some sort of farming area in the future, so I probably don't want to take or put anything back there. So let's go ahead and continue this path around here, and we need to actually start thinking about housing because these guys only repopulate with housing. That should be fine for now. We'll get housing moving here shortly once we have enough lumber on hand. Let's go ahead and start putting in our dam as well. I want to capture as much of this water as we can. We'll probably do something like that and go ahead and get our path across there like that. That should work just fine. We've already plussed that up. And that should mean that they get out there, they start moving pretty quickly, and we're going to go ahead and hit 3 times speed, let them do their things. And I love to see it. I love the beginning of this game. You have no idea where it's going to take you. There's so many options for us to do wonderful things. Now, we're going to have to get vertical and fast. Like I mentioned before, verticality is the name of the game in the hollows for sure. You need to be able to get out of these craters, if you will, to actually do anything productive. Let's see, I would like to give this a minor bump, actually. All right, and those guys are all working. We have 3 spots that are already empty. Probably pull that down to 2. Pull this down by 1. Get somebody planting some carrots for us, and we do need to plus up our work hours. There's no reason for them to be working 16 hours at the beginning of the cycle or beginning of the series, because there's a lot to do. It needs to get done. Here's that. We're going to max prioritize that. And probably pause you since you're already full, and that gets you back into working somewhere Gucci. So we got TK pulling water up for us, which is going to actually keep them alive longer. Love to have beavers that are nice and hydrated, you know. It's good for their health. It's good for a lot of things, honestly. Let's see here. Mighty Max is working away, doing wonderful things. Now we've got storage for our lumber, so that'll be quite beneficial. And now we've got berry storage. And we did have a beaver grow up, so we can go ahead and get them in there. Water's pumping, so I don't know why they're thirsty. That should get cleared up pretty quickly. And now we can look at probably putting some temporary housing back here. So let's do that like this. And that puts us at 12 housing units available to us, which will be pretty Gucci. And we could probably go ahead and toss in another small warehouse right here for berries, since we do have an option to actually get in there and do all of that. Now, lumber is moving along quite nicely. We're on day 3 of our first cycle. Normally, I've already gotten a notification that we're about to get our first drought, but we haven't gotten that yet. So I will call that a win, which is awesome. All right. Do we have any spare beavers? We do. We can get you out of there and into building. And that'll be good for them. They can get this last dam in pretty quickly, which only needs 15 more logs. I don't have a good selected. I wanted berries in here. That's that button. Still have 80 doing stuff in there. And we do have a spare spot available for the real Eternalist. Okay. All right. Well, real Eternalist is going to get in there and do real Eternalist things. All right. There's our drought notification. It's going to be here in 3 days, which isn't the greatest. We do have our carrots about to get moving again. Hey, look, I'm in here building. Let's go. We want science moving really quickly. We are not moving the science nearly as fast as I would like, but we have plenty of berries available to us. We've got another 2 days left before the carrots actually pop off, but we have this dammed up, so this will keep going throughout the drought, which will be quite beneficial. And this guy, Tiny T9K, has plenty of lumber there to work on for the duration of the drought. Now, we've got an additional spot available here now, and these are also done. We're going to go ahead and drop these down as priorities for positions to work in. But we can also go ahead and probably pause this, because I think we're maxed out on berry storage right now. And get somebody in here. 80, you get in there, pump your log. We need that water. Probably need to start thinking about getting some additional storage, water storage going in. And we need science to start moving soon too. Now we have one position going on unworked. We've got Wolfen in there doing Wolfen things, getting us some science. So that's going to get us to our forester pretty quick, which would be nice. They did drop the science requirements for the forester a couple patches ago, which is quite helpful. Don't have to wait till 60 to get this thing up and running, which means we can actually start planting more of our trees. And that means that we can start clear cutting some of this stuff out, which should be quite nice indeed. Give me that button. I want to see the water. Did they actually put the... No, they haven't put the particle physics back in. They're happy now. They've got some housing in, so that is Gucci. And I would like to go ahead and throw in some additional water tanks in preparation for the future longer droughts and longer bad tides that are going to be on their way. You are bored because there's nothing left for you to do. We can go ahead and just go rip that place out right there. That means we've got science double tapped right now, which is quite beneficial, and we could probably pull this down and get somebody in here to help out the real Eternalist. So we got MG working on the carrots. We've got carrot storage, which is quite helpful, and we've got happy beavers, which is even more helpful. Now, we need lots of lumber. lots and lots of lumber, which we have over here. We could probably pause, or yeah. So we're going to go ahead and get somebody on this stuff over here. That covers down all of that, and we can, I think we could just go ahead and, yeah, we'll do the crosshatch for this as well. Because oak is nice to have. This won't last the first bad tide. Most of it won't last the first bad tide, but it is still free lumber that will propagate itself, which is quite helpful. Now all this is drying out, which is not cool. And let's see here. This is nearing completion. This is so expensive for the folktales. I forgot how expensive the water wheel is. Holy bananas. But it's okay. We have plenty of water available for our beavers, and we've got plenty of food available as well. Probably get in here and unpause that. 80 can get in there and get the rest of these berries for us. And now science is at 60, so that is quite helpful, but we need this to be finalized, and that also means getting some sort of power moving for it. So as a temporary measure, we're going to rip this out right here, put in a power wheel on this side, and then connect this up like that. Is we need planks, and we need to have them available to us for a period of time. This is going to cost us a beaver, which is quite a pain, but we will need it anyway. And I think we're probably to the point where we can start thinking about expanding our beaver population. I do want to add more water in here like that. We've got plenty of lumber. We should be able to actually build that without too much consternation. I do want to get up here as soon as possible. So let's go ahead and unlock the forester and get that. Thinking over here is probably the best, because we'll have access to this little bit of water right here. We're going to get that as a fluid dump area. And so let's go ahead. We'll put this in right there. Yes, unlock that for that science. Go ahead and pull this over. Not going to follow the river's edge. There's not really a need for that quite yet. And we need to actually get in a well-being teeth grindstone, because that is going to hurt them sooner rather than later. Now, why are you guys thirsty and hungry? All right, let's pull your work time down a little bit. You don't need to be in there because there's nothing going. Though we can get that running, actually. Let's pull this down. We don't need that many in there to stare at carrots that aren't doing anything right now. And you are definitely bored. So you can go and be productive elsewhere, which means we can get you in there. Planks are moving, so that is good. Forester should be up and running here quickly, which means we can come over here and mark all of this for cutting. Now that's going to put us back a little bit, but we will get pine trees planted right here. I want to do half pine, half oak. Probably don't need to plant that right there. That's going to get bad tided pretty bad, so we probably save some of this right here as well. And we'll get a little bit more pine back in here, and then the rest of this can be oak. And then on this side, we'll have, this is in preparation. We're going to have that going that way. And we're going to have our fluid dump that'll be right there, which we could probably unlock. Not yet. We need a little bit more science. We've got 2.5 days left. We've got 107 units of water available to us. We've got more than enough water to make it the rest of this drought. I do want to go ahead and start thinking about more storage. It's probably excessive, but I like to be excessive in the beginning, because I anticipate a problem with with our first bad tide that's going to run through. I don't want to be wanting for water at all. So we will store up as much of this as we can. take advantage of this area right here as well. And we'll go ahead and tell it to be carrots. Tell you to be carrots as well. And bada bing, bada boom. We could probably expand this just a tad bit. Or do sunflower seeds. No, let's do carrots. They grow a little bit faster. We get one more body in here. I don't want to pull away from the science or from the plank manufacturing. Though planks are maxed out, we do need some storage for the planks. So we'll go ahead and toss in a small storage for that for future proofing. Now we've got 2 bodies that are bored. They can come up here and help lore star cutter do lore star cutter things. I like that they have the little hats. That's so cool. The hats are so fantastic. I love it. All right. Water, I probably don't want to pump anymore right now. That's not a good idea. Science-wise, we're at 156. The question is, do we do stairs or do we wait for fluid dump? I'm thinking stairs. So we can get up here and actually block off some of this back here with a dam. So that will be good for us. We're gonna go ahead and grab that right there. That'll get us back here. There are berries up there. Berries and cream for our beavers, which is always beneficial. We have our first pine trees planted, and they are working on this oak, which is hecka nice. I love to see it. Could probably go ahead and fill in some of these additional spots. There's no reason to plant back here that's not green. And this is about to run out, but we are about to be finished with our words. Drought. The drought's about to be done. All right, we need to pause you. I need to pause you. And actually, we've got the drought over, so we can actually get that turned back on. Sorry, guys. I'm sending you mixed signals here. You have a spare... What is happening? I have one unoccupied bed. So we did lose Tiny. We lost to old age, which is quite sad. You hate to see it happen. Tiny, your sacrifice will not be in vain. We appreciate you and everything that you've done. And we're going to expand our beaver population just a tad bit. I think we're going to pause you for now and get you in here. We have this maxed out. We do. All right. Planks are moving again, which is helpful. And then that means we're already up here. So that is cool. We're going to have this dammed off pretty quickly, which means we'll have water up here to take advantage of. And now we're just waiting on science. Science and probably more storage. We have carrots, plenty of carrot storage. Got these 2 in here. Probably could expand our efficient farming a tad bit. Go ahead and plus this up. I would like to have more beavers. All right, so we can actually mark this all for cutting. No reason not to, honestly. Go ahead and that'll be good. That's all marked. You guys are bored because all of those trees are not mature yet. We've got plank storage now, so that'll be helpful for the future. Now, let us see here. 177 science. How much are levies? 120. So we'd need 370 science in order to take advantage of this back here. Oh goodness. That was almost a mistake. Don't worry about that, guys. Everything's fine. Yeah, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's totally fine. Okay, they've got plenty of time. You know, if we're just gonna crank up the work hours just a tad bit, don't worry about a thing. Okay. All right, sweet. That's going. We're not making science currently. Probably pause you. Get science moving a tad bit. Where can we steal a body? We're not actively building anything right now because we're out of lumber. We're not out of lumber. So pull this down to 1. Ashley DMC can work on our levees up here, which are nearing, or not levees, dams up here, which are nearing completion. We do have a drought coming in 2 or 3 days, which is no bueno. Okay, because somebody forgot to turn the water pumpers back on, but it's okay. All right, it's all right. We'll get it figured out. Okay, all right. Let's pause this. There's no need for that guy to be working, that's for sure. Go ahead and unpause you. Get more pine in here. That would be quite beneficial for everything, and that'll be good. We'll let that continue to work. That should be enough lumber to finish out the last dam, allegedly. Yeah, we've got 3 fully mature trees back here, which is 24 units of lumber. That far exceeds what we need down here. And we do have plenty of trees right here available to them as well, so that would be helpful. Now we do have an additional lodge available, so we will get more beavers coming in. Now, it's not going to be much. It'll plus up our population to 15 as a max, which isn't egregious by any means or excessive by any means. Now, the problem will come into play when food becomes an issue. So I want to store up as much of this as beaverly possible for our first drought. Or first bad tide, sorry. First bad tide will kill all of our carrots and all of our berries down here, which is not fun. This is 6 away. We have the lumber available to us. It's just a matter of getting somebody in there to get it done. Probably pause you, plus up, get 80 in there to build. And that should be quite Gucci. Now, this is filling in now, so that is good to see. We do have 1 full thing of carrots. We've got science moving, 268 science. We do have enough science now to actually get the fluid dump going, which is actually quite nice. We don't have the lumber to... Well, we do have that lumber there. Take advantage of this back here, honestly. I don't dislike that. It's a lot of real estate, and if we put it back into this area, that shouldn't be drastically affected by the bad tide. So this side, that's as far as it gets. So if we put an irrigation pond right here, that'll irrigate probably out to here. And that gives us a lot of real estate to work with. The problem is producing enough water to fill the irrigation pond for a period of time. Now, we are encroaching on the end of our temperate cycle. We are at 288 units of water available to us, which isn't bad. So we are going to pause those 2 down here, and we are going to build a couple of fluid or water pumps up here, since that is free water for us right now. We should have all of the required materials to get that moving, and I do need to get up here and actually rip out some of these berries. Nope, that's not the button. Mark resource for cutting. That means we've got MG in there doing that, and we're going to go ahead and put in some more storage here for reasons previously stated. Not gonna reattack any of that, you know, it's fine. It's necessary. Don't judge me and my over excessive amount of water production. Science is moving quite nicely though, which is really amazing. I love to see that. A lot of these popped up. So do we have a spare beaver somewhere? Not really. We have a couple children, a couple kits rocking around, but we could probably get over here. Get TK to swap positions and start tearing down some more of that stuff, which he has plenty to work with. We have plenty of lumber going, which is quite beneficial. Planks are not nearly as far along as I would like them to be. I would like to see that a bit higher, and I do want to see more lumber. But now we need to think about floodgates. It's a lot of lumber, a lot of planks, and then all of the levees are pretty expensive too. Now, so one of the challenges that I noted, or noticed, I should say, the first look at this map is your scrap. You have to travel quite a ways to get to your first bit of scrap. I think that's the closest, other than that one, maybe. I think that one's easier to get to than that, honestly, because you have to get over that crevasse. Now, sure, you have to get over this as well. And that is a problem. We could dam over that, maybe? No, I don't want to. That's a lot of lumber wasted. Oh, goodness gracious. Don't have the science quite readily available or available for the platforms quite yet, because I want to get the levees moving, which we have the science for levees now. We need a 370 for the levees and for that, so let's go ahead. We'll move over here and prep this workspace. Oh, goodness. Nope, 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 nope. Like that. Like that. That will meet the intent for that right there. And we need to path over there. Like that. Stairs. And now we need to go ahead and unlock the fluid dump right there. Push that right there, and that should give us enough space to put in a farmhouse or two. And that should irrigate a fair portion of this area. Kind of want... Yeah, this should be... Well, I want to put storage in here too somewhere. So let's pull those out and put them back on this side. And that gives us a spot for storage like that. And we can go ahead and toss in a water storage container right there as well. Perfectly situated right in there. And we'll do more carrots over here. And we'll transition away from this, because this is going to be a problem for our first bad tide. But this will not be... Now the issue is lumber to get all of that up and running. But that is being solved as we speak. This is already almost ready to pop, and these are nowhere near ready to pop, but that one is nowhere near. Okay, yeah, we have a fair amount of lumber available to us over here in the near future, so we can get that moving pretty quickly, which would be quite helpful. We'll go ahead and mark all that for planting and let that happen one way or another. And let's take stock of where we're at right now. We have 313 units of water on us already. We've got 4 days left in this drought. 335 units of carrots available already. And that is a fair portion of food for us. That should last our current beaver population a full 30-day... 30-day... bad tide and or drought. Wow, I can speak the English language. Right? No. That's 10... Yeah? No. Wait. Mathing? Mathing in public. No, that'll last us 10 days. Disregard silly, stupid me making silly, stupid comments. Yeah. Right? Yeah, so we've got 15 days worth of food available to us right now. And we've got more storage available to us, so that should give us 20 days worth of food if we get all of the carrot storage up and running. Now, we need... We've got only 10 days worth of water available to us, which isn't the greatest. But it will do. We do have an extra beaver not doing anything. Let's go ahead and unpause that side so they can get some of that lumber cut down. And all of this is being chopped down as we speak. And we probably need to get this moving again so we can get some more lumber or more planks. But we don't quite need those yet. And I want... get up here, but that also requires platforms, so we do need to unlock platforms. But I also want science for our floodgates. So we don't need the floodgates. I'm not trying to race against the first bad tide to get it diverted. It's pretty much impossible to actually beat the first bad tide. Just based solely off of the amount of time available to us. However, we can prep the max extent possible for that by doing stuff like this. By putting in irrigation ponds, that gives us a place to stay alive during the bad tides while it's still flowing by. We can do this irrigation pond over here, actually. Now, this doesn't provide us that much in the way of irrigation overall. Now, a lot of this portion right here will be covered in bad irrigation, if you will, but it does provide us an area where we can continue to get lumber moving, can continue to have foodstuffs growing, so that is not the worst. And we'll go ahead and plus this up as a construction site so that they can get that done sooner rather than later. This is going to take a while because we're waiting on lumber, which is coming in, right? It just takes a while for them to actually chop it all down and get it all replanted, and that is happening. So we can actually go ahead and refill some of those spots that have been cleared, cut already. And that has already done. That just rendered in out of nowhere. Sweet. Now this is here. That is available to us. We'll go ahead and check in another water container here for me, actually. We give this a priority bump as far as building priorities are concerned, and let that get finalized. That guy is refilling. See this irrigation? It irrigates out to about here. It's not a full 3x3, right? So it's a 2x2 with a little outcrop and outcrop on that side. So it provides a decent amount of irrigation, but it's not the best. Now that we've got water moving again, though, we can actually come down into here. Pause me from wasting our water right there. Get this pumped out. And go ahead and pause that side. Apparently that one was already going empty, and we are missing beavers. We lost a few to old age, sadly. Probably think about doing some entertainment stuff for them, but I'm not quite there yet. Based solely off the fact that we do not have the lumber quite there to do that. So you can't reach that far, but you can on that side. Pull this down to 1 so we can get science moving again, because I want that moving at any and every opportunity that we can. Let's see, where can we save on some bodies as well? I want to keep 2 in there. Now, this isn't optimal. Optimal would be 2 efficient farmhouses one with 2 workers doing the harvesting, and another one doing the planting. We don't have the resources quite there yet to actually get that up and running. So we'll let that continue to work its way out for now. We do have power moving through. This is generating more than enough power to meet the demand for the lumber mill. So that is good to see. And let's think about other foodstuffs. All right. Let's think about potatoes. Potatoes are always good. And you should be able to reach all that. And we need a place to store the potatoes, which means back here. And we're going to give this a bonus or a plus up on the building requirements, because we need that yesterday. I should have had this in already, but alas, I did not. Go ahead and put a grill in right here and give all of that a plus up on the demand. We'll put in some small storage right here. We'll put this one as potatoes, this one as grilled potatoes, already ready to rock and roll. That's going to cost us a beaver position, or yeah. So let's go ahead and plus up our housing just a tad bit more. Like that, and give this stuff a priority. I want that prioritized, and that. We've already got our potatoes in. That takes a hot minute to actually reach maturity, but that is more than enough to meet the intent there. That's already going in nice and smoothly. Lumber's being cut, so that is good to see, and we do have another drought on the way. So we are saved from one more bad tide, which is quite nice. Now, the next cycle, I do anticipate seeing a bad tide, so we want to be as well prepared for that as beaverly possible. We are getting there. We've got carrots galore. We've got 600 or 530 units of carrots available to us. We're about to plus into or move into potatoes, which will be quite beneficial for our beavers, and that will be amazing. I'm going to pause you since you're bored and get you over here and help chop down this stuff on this end. Now, I do have 3 beavers with nothing to do with their hands, which means go ahead and unpause these 2. There we go. We had 2 kits grow up, I think. Yeah, got us and Robbie T Music doing Robbie T Music things. There we go. And let's give this a max priority, otherwise they won't touch it for the next 5 years, because this is all moderate priority. Logs are a limfac right now for a lot of the things that we need to be doing. We could get up here and take advantage of this. We probably should do that. And we probably should actually plus up on water storage as well, but I don't feel like we're quite there yet. Lumber-wise, we have so many other things that need to be accomplished. Now, we do have water up here available to us to pump out through the next drought words. So that will be helpful. I will pause one of you so we can get science continuing to move on that end, which will be nice to see. And I do want to max this out because I want more beavers. More beavers for beaver kind. Pretty please. All right. Storage is in for the potatoes. Potatoes are still another 3 days out from reaching maturity, so we do have storage for the regular potatoes and storage for the grilled potatoes. We have thirsty beavers. Let's pull the work time down to 18 hours now. We don't need them to be running ragged right now. And probably throw in some more storage for our planks, because this guy sat on his bum doing nothing, so that means that you can be building. Probably helping out over here. No, already occupied. We're gonna go ahead and fill those spots in. Probably fill this last line in with oak as well. just for giggles. And we will put in a farmhouse right here. Probably not right there. That's a terrible place for a farmhouse to be. Let's put a farmhouse down here, because that doesn't cover up any of the irrigation that we will get from this fluid dump. So we need to pause these two. We can unpause that one. There's not really much for them to actually do because we're full on water already. I want you to be making grilled potatoes there, Robbie. Thank you for your patronage. Potatoes aren't quite ready for you yet, so we'll pull you out of there and let's see what we can do with you. Don't quite need to be throwing water into that pond yet, but we can to irrigate that stuff back there so we actually get some of those trees moving again. It's not a bad use of your time. And now we have 2 more beavers that have officially grown up. This is nearing completion. Heck yeah, let's go. That's just waiting on logs and planks. So we almost have our bad tide proof farming area going, which is quite helpful. And we could probably throw in another forester over here, honestly. Can I put a forester in here, please and thank you? Thank you. Do I want a forester over here? Probably not. We've got this irrigated a fair amount already by this side, so we could just use this as forestry and see what happens on this end, right? Give that a plus up. Get that done so that Jay here doesn't have to run halfway across the world to actually get anything done. We'll get Phoenix in here to clean up the rest of these pine trees that are there, and look at that irrigation. That is a solid amount of irrigation, and now it's making me second guess my farmhouse positioning. So let's go ahead and tear these out right here and put these in back in here. There we go. Then we will go ahead and probably do something like that. Grab this, rip that out right there. And that makes it a bit of a cleaner run in. And we could probably even put more storage back here for foodstuffs. Let's see. All right, let's go ahead and hit this button right here. Get that cleared up on that end. That shouldn't cause any issues. That should be a good spot. And that'll give us a lot of this to work with in here. I do anticipate about here-ish to actually have any workable or arable land to work with, but that will be fine. So what I'm thinking is we'll split this like this, right? We'll do potatoes like this. And we'll do carrots probably here. I'm not too concerned about losing the carrots. The potatoes have the higher return on investment. So I'm more interested in getting those moving than anything else. Now, I can't go too far over here because when the bad tide is running, this does do the bad tide poo irrigation down to about here. So I don't anticipate being able to take advantage of that. But this is a fair amount of real estate that we can actually get some foodstuffs from, which will be fantastic if I do say so myself. All right, Robbie, you're bored there. Let's go ahead and pull you out of there and get somebody in here to actually finish building the rest of the stuff that I just had you guys tear down and redo. I want that right there. Why did you guys just barely touch it and then run away? All right, cool. Jade's in there. Jade's going to clear out the rest of these trees back here that are an issue. we could go ahead and click this button on that guy, because that's going to be another 5 days for that to pop, and I don't want to wait for that one, and do the same thing back here. Probably can't reach that though, so we'll have to bring a path. Now they should be able to reach it. They can reach it. That's what we want to see. What is how we do it. Sweet. Now we can go over here, finalize the rest of, well, finalize that. There we go. Cool. Cool beans. Cool story, brosif. Probably expand this a little bit more, get some more of our oak in here. Get oak to there. I'm anticipating losing this line right here, which stinks because that has just been planted. This one might not survive, but that one will. I don't think I need this anymore. Hold up. Hold up. Yep, not needed. That's a waste of real estate or lumber. I feel bad for having not remembered to tear that out. Oops. Whoops, indeed. All right, we are at 18. So we've got 10 days of water available to us already. This is drying out. That stinks. I hate to see that. We need to start thinking about gears and some other stuff, but we can unlock platforms now. And that means that we can do gears on the other side of this bad Johnny. I want to get a power shaft in right there. Should be simple and easy. So they'll come in and drop that off, walk away, and it'll be amazing. Don't need this many builders running right now because we're not doing anything productive with them. We don't need 3 in here. So let's pull this down to... Actually, let's pull this down to 1. 1 planter. And then this side can be our 2 harvesters. And we could start maneuvering these guys out of here or let this run at min capacity, which should be fine. Well, we do have all these potatoes that are moving actually. So that's... Can you guys reach any of that? You cannot. Can you guys reach any of that? You can. That's not built yet, so that's not helpful to anybody. Trees are at a standstill right now. We are waiting a couple more days for all that to pop, which is kind of stinky, but it'll have to do. Let's go ahead and pause. Blondie says what? Go do other things with her life, like make planks for us. So let's go ahead and pause both of you. Get that moving, though there's no lumber for you to do anything anyway. So let's pause that and get somebody up here. Get this lumber that I've been woefully neglecting for quite a minute now. Yes, there we go. Get all of this marked for cutting as well. We could probably get up here and get these berries. That's probably not a bad use of our time. But they're not quite doing anything for us anyway, so we don't really care to do that. I don't want to eat the berries anyway. If we get down to the point where we're eating berries, I've done messed up AA run. And I don't want to be that point, at that point, you know? There we go. Now we've got some lumber moving. Gets Shamcat in there. We lost somebody doing science, but that's okay. Let's see. We've got this moving. Probably get storage in right, not large pile. Right here. We'll put 3 in. 1 for carrots. And then 2 for potatoes. Like I said, potatoes have the largest return on investment in the beginning game. So we'll take full advantage of that while we can. Carrots I'm okay with losing, like I said already, and we'll keep moving that along quite nicely. I love to see it. Now, I would like to get up here and start thinking about how to deal with future bad tide stuff up here. So we can do one of two things. We can come up here and start this levee project, which we're not quite ready for. We don't have the lumber available to us as it is to even do that. We do have 2 spots on are not being used, so going to get that up and running, again. And TK's pulling lumber down. So we can get this moving. We don't have the lumber needed to start this diversion system yet. But we need to start making our way up there anyway. I'll let TK continue to work on that. But that'll be for future me to figure out. What we can do, however, is start working our way up here and prepare for diversions on this side. So let's go ahead and start getting that in. Now, we don't have the planks available to us to actually do everything I'd like to do up here, but this will do for now. And we need to get up here and do something along these lines. And then come up here, crawl up on this side, and I would like 2 things to happen. Me to somehow get 5 or 650 science out of nowhere in the next 10 seconds to unlock those things. Alas, this is not going to happen. But a guy can dream. It's fine. It's okay. Science is moving, so that is good. We are about to hit our first... I'm anticipating hitting our first bad tide here shortly. First bad tide will be this next cycle. But don't believe we have enough water stored up for that. We don't have gears yet going either. So let's do 2 things at once. I don't want to burn the science for this, but we need to burn the science for it. Do I need gears for anything right now? I don't believe I do. Yes. Water storage. That's what I need it for. Because these little tanks aren't going to do it for us. They just take up a lot of real estate. All right. Get this in here. That's 6 more units of water available to us, and that'll be pretty helpful. These are expensive for their size or their storage capacity. Are they 15 logs a piece, and they only provide 30 units of water storage, which is not the best, right? Not the best at all. This all is about to expire. We got carrots here that are about to expire as well, but we've got plenty of potatoes moving in now, so that is quite helpful. We don't have them cooking yet, but we can pause you. Can pause you and unpause that guy. And that will get us potatoes cooking. You are also bored. You do not need to be sitting there. Why are you sitting there and not telling me that you're bored? Probably because of that one tree right there, and that's the only reason why that one wasn't going off. Okay, 2 positions going unfilled. They've already started working their way up here. That's actually kind of crazy that they did that. We have happy beavers because they have had potatoes. Potatoes make beavers happy, apparently. I'm okay with that. Potatoes make me happy too. So who am I to judge a beaver and their happiness when it comes to potatoes? Okay. Don't judge the beavers and their happiness with potatoes. It's quite rude and unnecessary. That's what I want to avoid. So my thoughts are double floodgate or even triple floodgate or levee and single floodgate right here. Tear these out, put a floodgate, a single floodgate across right here. So bad tide goes that way, or maybe even floodgate right here. Bad tide goes that way. When this is a bad tide, it just goes in, fills up this back end, and goes that way. We're going to have wet beavers, which is going to make them even happier. I have an injured beaver. How are you injured? What were you doing that would injure you? I don't have any jobs to injure beavers. Lumber mill? No. How are you injured? Okay. There's our first bad tide. Okay, we're maxing those out. We're going to lose out on science, which is kind of stinky. But it will have to do. It will be necessary because I need the water. Probably pause building for now. We'll be able to keep moving this stuff over here. So this will keep moving. I do not want them coming up here anymore. But there's nothing for them to do up here anyway, so that's not a concern for us. And you guys will have to see what happens next time on Timberborn Z, where I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic episode full of fantastic chaos and fantastic fun, and the first bad tide on the hollows. It's looking pretty good. This is actually the most I've expanded, like, built out from an initial starting point than I do normally, actually. This is actually turning out a lot different than a lot of my playthroughs in the past. Normally I'm in a small little area right here, right? But we're over here, we're over here, we're up here, we're all over the place. And I like it. It actually looks pretty clean, pretty neat. Now, the first bad tide will probably show how terrible of planning or eyeballing the bad tide irrigation is going to be, but it will be fine. And we're in a pretty good spot to start working towards bad tide protection. But we're not quite there yet. That's going to take time. It's going to take science. It's going to take materials. All of which we don't necessarily have, but I'm happy. So, next time we'll see how the first bad tide goes, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I would appreciate that as well. And remember, guys, keep yourself hydrated. Make sure your beaver's nice hydrated as well, and keep rocking the free world. We'll see you on the next episode of Timberborn Z. I'm out. See ya.